Namaskar. I welcome all of you to our Women Empowerment series today. We have Junie here with us, who is an EQ coach and also the co-founder of the Fifth Mantra. Junie, I invite you to introduce yourself to all of us today.
Thank you so much, Naveena. This is indeed an honor and a privilege to feature on this magnificent series of yours. To introduce about myself, I am Junie George, a communication and emotional intelligence coach. I've been a communicator for more than 18 years now. And as I often say, I've worked with individuals from the age of 6 to 60 years. I hold sessions on nonverbal and verbal communication, and also discuss approaches on how people can build rapport, build strong relationships with greater emotional intelligence. So thank you once again for having me here.
Thank you for your beautiful introduction, Junie. For many of us who are not aware what is EQ or what is emotional intelligence, would you elaborate a bit on that for us?
The word intelligence is something we are familiar with, and we keep using it, hearing it all around us. But more often we refer to IQ, the intelligence quotient, as is commonly called, where we assess the ability of a person or the skill level of a person in a particular subject area. When I refer to emotional intelligence, of course, it was not coined by me. Daniel Goleman had a huge role in making it more accessible to laymen. This refers to our awareness and the control that we have over our emotions and how we can use this knowledge to understand others better so that we can build stronger rapport with them. So when I talk of emotional intelligence, it is something that already exists in all of us. We are innately aware of our emotions. We are aware of the ability to read others' emotions. But yes, the degree varies. When we build a certain mindful awareness about it, we are able to have better control over it. Now, when I use the word control, please do not mistake me in terms of manipulating emotions or pretending. A lot of times my clients raise this question with me. Whenever you mention emotional control, does it mean that we are going to pretend or we have to be someone we are not? Definitely not. Control is where I get to use my emotions in the most effective manner. It is here that I would like to emphasize on the fact that there are no positive and negative emotions. I firmly believe every emotion has a place. It has its role. Now, what gives it that positive or negative feel is the context or the manner in which I manifest it. Anger, fear, sadness, these are all powerful emotions. Now, how do I use it? In which context? And what is the impact of this emotion? That will determine whether I'm using it intelligently or I'm using it in a way that would harm me or hurt me. So coming back to the topic of emotional intelligence, my role as a coach is to try and help people gain better awareness of what they feel, why they feel that way, and how they can express it in the most impactful and effective manner. And when I talk of expressing, that's where communication comes in. And hence my role as an EQ and communication coach, because these two areas are very, very closely interrelated. What we feel, we will end up expressing. And many a time, what we express will have an impact on how we feel as well. So our choice of language, the kind of nonverbal cues that we send out, how we present ourselves, and of course, the mindset that we build, all of it put together will summarize beautifully what emotional intelligence is all about. And here we also need to understand the purpose of it. Why do we communicate? Why do we work on understanding ourselves better or on understanding others? The purpose is to connect. The higher the awareness, the better the manifestation, the better the connection that we build. And obviously that will mean more fulfillment for us as individuals and as members of a community. So emotional intelligence, just like communication, is not a choice. It is a necessity. And I would gladly call it a life skill. It is something we have, but we need to develop. The more we build it, the more we work on it with awareness, the stronger outcomes, stronger transformations we get to experience.
That is so true. Our emotions are really intertwined with how we communicate with others around us. And without communication, how can we ever exist? You know, we need people around us. We cannot stay alone all our whole life. So yes, I completely agree with you on that, that we need to first be emotionally aware of how or what we are feeling. And then we should also see how we can communicate that to the other person without sounding or being offensive. So what can you give us a few tips or advice on how to understand the basic emotions that you were talking about and how to communicate with people around us?
Paul Ekman had identified the 6 or 7 universal emotions. When I say universal, that means emotions that are clearly understood in all cultures, irrespective of your ethnicity or origin. So sadness, happiness, surprise, disgust, anger, fear, and contempt. Now, these are emotions that all of us have manifested, we have witnessed, and we have our own interpretations of it as well. For example, a smile, while it does indicate happiness in most of the occasions when it's used, there are several kinds of smiles. Interestingly, there are 19 kinds of smiles, and each smile conveys a different message. So when I talk of a facial expression, normally we try to simplify it by saying that the person smiled at me. But our subconscious, where our emotions operate, our emotions pick up the vibe or the cue or the message that comes behind that expression. So when we are talking of working on our sensitivity, on our awareness of emotions, non-verbal skills also come very closely with it. We learn to read non-verbal cues better. Now, reading cues does not mean that I start judging people based on what I see, because non-verbal communication has to be considered as a cluster of cues. It can never be considered as an isolated cue. So one smile or one hand gesture or one particular posture cannot give me the license to judge, okay, this person is confident or this person is friendly. But yes, when I have a couple of cues coming together, where the expression very warm, the tone of the voice is very affectionate, and there is a certain leaning in of the body, the subject that is being discussed is very positive, then I can safely assume that this person is friendly or someone I would like to engage in a conversation with. So when I'm talking of awareness, it is not only to read other people or understand others' emotions. That can only happen if I am aware of my own, right? So all work in emotional intelligence begins with the self. What do I feel? And when I feel this particular emotion, how do I manifest it? Now, for example, the emotion of anger. Different people have different styles or ways of manifesting it, as we call it the communication styles. Some may have a more passive style, where I sulk, I stop talking, or I withdraw from someone, or I kind of have a facial expression that shows I'm angry. Someone may be more aggressive. They might verbalize whatever they are feeling. So there might be name calling or offensive language, or they might pick up things and throw it around. So that's a different style of manifesting. Then I might have a passive aggressive, where I am angry and I use indirect language. So there are these very critical remarks or indirect statements So I'm not entirely aggressive, yet I'm not very quiet or suppressing it. So each individual has their own style. I will not get into the right and wrong of it because there is no such thing. As I mentioned earlier, it's about context and how it is utilized. But yes, our objective can be to move towards a more assertive style, where I am able to recognize my emotion and express it as well, so that people understand what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling without a need for me to justify it, suppress it, or avoid it. And talking of assertiveness, that's where now our keyword of empowerment comes in. Right? Because when we normally use this word empowerment, we refer to skills, knowledge, expertise. So somebody is considered empowered if you skill them, if they are able to achieve financial independence. While yes, competence is a part of empowerment, but competence alone does not define empowerment. We have the aspect of confidence as well. Confidence to express oneself, confidence to voice our thoughts, our ideas, without feeling the need to suppress it. So now suddenly you find emotional intelligence, communication skill, and an empowered mindset all coming together to create an individual who is assertive, effective, and powerful, not just as a professional, but also as a person. In this case, of course, I would like to now highlight the case of women, because empowerment usually is used alongside with women. Now, why does that happen? And do we really need to consider empowerment of women? There was this very interesting study that was done by the Cornell University and a couple of other publications, even in fact, Sheryl Sandberg's book, before she published Lean. It all highlighted one very uncomfortable truth: the fact that there is a confidence gap between the genders. It was seen that at the same competence level, there is a huge gap in confidence. And when I say confidence, I'm talking of self-confidence as well as esteem. Just to make it simpler, confidence is what we think of ourselves, and esteem is what we think others think of ourselves. And both of it coming together is important when it comes to feeling confident and feeling empowered. So what was found is women, even if they are experienced, skilled, and competent, many a time they question whether they deserve something, whether they are ready for something, or they are prepared enough for something. So this has an impact in chasing opportunities, in salary negotiations, in even applying for a position where the woman considers herself not suitable enough because she doesn't fulfill in her mind those list of factors to be perfect. So now when we are looking at confidence being such an issue, any empowerment cannot be only about skilling. It cannot only be about education, because there is a lot of conditioning that is happening alongside it. These mindsets and this confidence gap has not come about in a single day or because of a single event. She has been told and reminded time and again, right from her childhood, about how some things she cannot do or some things she's not supposed to do. So she grows up with that feeling that possibly I'm not good enough, and most of the others are not going to accept me, or maybe I'm a fraud. We have legendary, you could say, women achievers who have admitted that there have been occasions, even after they've been recognized, after they've been appreciated for their work, for their output, they still consider themselves frauds at times. And that's not just shocking, but it's definitely disturbing as well. So when I'm talking of building confidence, it has to be starting with my mindset. Yes, skills are important, education is important, training is important, but the work on the self, what I was referring to in emotional intelligence, that is something crucial. We cannot rely on external validation to feel confident. Confidence has to be built. And the good thing is it can be. So the kind of nervousness or the feelings of self-doubt that we may be experiencing, it's normal, it's natural. And it doesn't mean that we will never feel doubtful again. But at least when we are aware of it and we know the approaches to work on, we can handle those feelings of self-doubt better. That will ensure we don't end up missing opportunities or missing out on that crucial time of growth and learning. Most women have told me that they feel very confident once they are in their 50s. That's good. And it's been found for both men and women, age does add to the confidence. But don't you think that's a very long time to wait to feel confident? And that's so unfair to ourselves, because there are so many positive qualities and strengths that we all possess. So if only we are more aware of it, we realize how to use those strengths and how we can develop those strengths even further. Imagine the kind of growth and potential that we have for success and true empowerment, right? So for me, emotional intelligence is at the base of empowerment. There cannot be empowerment with just one literacy program or one training program. Empowerment has to be a way of life, an approach, where I build on my confidence, the way I perceive myself, I develop my skills, I have a voice to express what I feel, I build strong relationships. All of that put together will definitely take me towards empowerment.
I am completely with you on this, Junie. Yes, somewhere what you say, a lot of things what you say rings true totally for me. And somewhere I feel that women, why we generally link women empowerment to just women is because maybe us as women have always been seen to be a sweet or they're very gentle. So the society, our parents, our siblings, everybody try to protect us from going through something bad. So, and they always say, give advice that you be careful, you be protected of yourself, you be safe. So somewhere the feeling that I can take care of myself, I can be my own person, I can be confident, I can go out there and accomplish things on my own. So that is also very closely related to self-confidence, I believe. Maybe that is something that we need to start working on ourselves. So that would really, really help women to move forward. Again, calling this as Women Empowerment Series is because I wanted to bring and highlight, or rather wanted to bring women like you who are accomplished in different fields and highlight the fact that it is possible for women to go out there and accomplish themselves among others, and empowerment doesn't necessarily link to women in particular. It actually links to all people and all leaders around. If you are willing to learn and work on yourself, grow your knowledge on yourself, improve your self-confidence, come out and face the world boldly, that is true self-empowerment. What I have a question here though. I have seen that people in general, women here, because we are talking about women empowerment cities, sometimes are having the self-doubt within themselves. How do I come out? That first step which they take. So what did you do from your end for that first step? How did you realize, or what is the first step you took?
Okay. As I had just mentioned earlier, self-doubt is very natural, it's common. It is not something that we need to fear or be ashamed about. Of course, now coming to self-doubt, there are certain other aspects and emotions like shame and guilt that are also very closely related. Right now, I would not get too much into that part of it, but let's look at some of the approaches that we can adopt to challenge that thought whenever it does arise. And it will, I can assure you that. Even when we are very well prepared, we will be slightly nervous, we will be apprehensive. How would the outcome be? What if I fail? What if I make a fool of myself? These are the questions that come into our minds. The problem only comes up when those questions hold us back. If those questions give us a reality check, now, for example, if I don't have a thought that something can go wrong, my level of preparation may not be that thorough. When I anticipate that something could go wrong, I look for alternatives. I look for various other ideas of handling it. So in that case, these questions are not a disadvantage. It is only helping me think wider and think deeper. But if these questions are stopping me from doing something where I know I have an opportunity, I know this is a great platform for me, but because I think I'm not worthy of it or will and ready for it, that's when this self-doubt can become a problem. First of all, we can do is challenge it. Now, this thought, I'm not good enough. Why do I feel that way? Immediately, people come up with these stories, examples from the past where they failed or they didn't do a job well. So the simple question is the person sitting right now the same as the person who did it back then? The answer will definitely be no, because so many other things have happened in the interim time period. Each individual has grown. They have experienced more things in life. So even if it's, let's say, a week back, who we were a week back may not be the same as who we are today. We are constantly absorbing information, constantly connecting with people. All these interactions are adding to us. So the fact that it didn't work out at that point is not an indication that today you will not be able to do it, first of all. Secondly, why are we taking it as the absolute truth? And if yes, that failure or that mistake is the truth, then what about those achievements? Each one of those achievements is my truth as well. So for every occasion where I may have goofed up, or I may have made a mistake, or I may not have performed as per my potential, there are various other instances where I have. There are numerous projects or numerous situations, decisions that I have taken that have worked out brilliantly. So now if I were to compare both these truths, according to me, which one would be greater in number? The very fact that I have survived, I have overcome so many challenges, and I have reached where I am today definitely indicates my list of achievements or positive strengths are higher than that list of, let's say, mistakes or flaws or failures, as I call it. Now, does it make sense to focus on the smaller list, or would we focus on the larger list? Consider yourself like a recruiter. Whenever you go through the CV of an individual, you look for those positive qualities that can help your organization or your team. You never go through a CV hunting for flaws. Okay, the person knows coding, but he does not know a foreign language. I will never go through a CV that way. I will look at what is his or her experience. What do they know? What value can they bring to the team? So why don't I use that very same approach when it comes to myself? If I am planning to do something, to explore a new career opportunity, or I want to pick up a new hobby, or I want to connect with someone new, why don't I look at all the positive qualities I can bring to that situation? How can I make it happen? If I find there are some areas I need to develop, great, let's go right ahead and do that prep. But let's not begin our decision-making or our thought process by thinking of all the things that I lack and all the things that can go wrong. So I would say the key word is challenge it, because those thoughts are beginning in our mind based on our experience, and those experiences are not the complete truth. You are much more than one event or one situation, right? They may have happened, you've learned, and you've moved on, you've grown. So try. There could be some new learning coming up, but that does not mean you don't prepare. Okay, I mean, every experience is wonderful, so let's just go and do what I know. Prepare for it. There's a reason why skills are, important and why we need to learn. But once we have the skill, let not self-doubt hold us back from using them. Let's look out for those opportunities where we can use our skills and make it better. Those strengths are there to be used, not just to be buried or written on some paper.
Yes, that's so true. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your knowledge with us on this Women Empowerment series. It's been a true honor having you here with us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naveena. It's been an absolute pleasure interacting with you as always. And I certainly appreciate and applaud your effort and the effort of the whole Yaha Life team in trying to help individuals become more empowered, more confident, and more effective individuals who can lead more fulfilled lives. So thank you so much for this wonderful work of yours.
Thank you. Namaskar.